Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the social media workshop this afternoon. Before we begin, I'd first like to introduce myself. My name is Emily Hanna. I work for Orange County Neighborhood Preservation and Revitalization Division in the host committee for this event. I would also like to introduce your speaker today, Miss Carla Jackson. She's going to be giving her presentation, which afterwards I'd ask everyone to hold your questions till the end. I will bring a microphone around and you'll stand up, and that's when we'll answer all the questions, okay? So Carla Action Jackson has served as an employee of the City of Tampa since April 2003. In which she has one of the first of two appointments made to the former administration. In 2007, the former mayor appointed Carla as the liaison to manage the mayor's African American Advisory Council, a position she still holds to date. In her current role as neighborhood liaison for the City of Tampa Community Partnerships and Neighborhood Engagement Division, she works very closely with the current mayor, Bob Buckhorn, assisting the various neighborhoods related events, including working with over 100 different neighborhoods and civic organizations throughout the city. In celebration of her 50th birthday this year, Carla is gearing up to recycle herself for a series of new life challenges, such as becoming a small business owner, and one day, very soon, taking kickboxing lessons, so watch out. She loves to dance, specifically Zumba and line dancing, travel as much as possible, enjoys walks on the beach, but she does not swim in the water, loves all types of music, indoor sports, which includes, but not limited to, darts, bowling, and billiards, and loves to shop, especially for shoes. So give a round of applause for Carla Jackson.
Good afternoon, everybody. How you doing? Great. Are you enjoying yourself today? Awesome. Glad to be here. We're going to talk about social media, specifically in government. How many of you either are working for governments or as citizens in your community have engagement with your government that reaches out through social media? Awesome. That is good. Now, what the best thing that government can do is try to find the best way to reach out to our citizens. The quickest way and the cheapest, because government has no money. Remember that, okay? Now, when you're reaching out, people have different types of learning skills, the way that they receive information. And as government, we have to try to find the best method to reach out to you, whether it be you prefer getting emails, you prefer getting phone calls, door to door, as well as your social media. So what I'm going to do today is talk about the different social media tools that our City of Tampa is doing to engage with their community. The first is I want to show you a very quick video regarding a YouTube, and we have a YouTube page for our City of Tampa, in which our mayor is reaching out to the community to talk about what's going on in Tampa.
This is a great place, and we are going to take our turn on the stage of great American cities. Tampa, this is our time. This is our turn, and this is our destiny. Many of you may have seen that our challenges outnumbered our opportunities. But now, the Tampa Bay area is leading the state in the number of new jobs created. Our destiny is based on our great history, but our future is dependent on our hope for this generation and the generations to come. From the very beginning, I told you that we could be one of America's greatest cities, a place where our children are proud to call home, a place where they want to return to, a place where the best and the brightest around the country want to come and be a part of, a place where we grow the companies that we have and we attract the jobs that we want. Jobs of the future, not jobs of the past. Jobs that allow our citizens to move into middle class and beyond. Our efforts, your efforts, are paying dividends. Our opportunities and our potential are, in one word, infinite. We celebrate our diversity as a strength. I'm not going to be the mayor of a city, ever, that demonizes people based on race or creed or color or ethnicity or gender or the God you worship or who you love. But our ability to attract that intellectual capital and to compete with cities like Charlotte and Raleigh and Austin, Texas and San Diego are dependent upon our ability to attract young people to this community. We've spent 3 years trying to create that environment. And ultimately our job as parents and as leaders and as mayors is to leave this city in better shape than it was given to us. Don't ever underestimate the fact that each of us, as this community rises, we have the responsibility to make sure that we don't leave anybody behind. This community's on a roll, folks. I hope you feel it like I do. This is our time to really rise to the level that we know we are capable of being. We can compete with anybody out there. We can play on that international stage. We can execute. We do it without drama. We get the job done, and the end result is they talk about this community all over the world. So we want more. We want it faster. We don't sleep. And we're going to be up here again and again and again telling Tampa's story of why this is an amazing American city.
Now, Tampa is my home. Now, that had to be a great, exciting video, don't you think? I mean, it's a virtual tour of what our city has to offer. Whether you've lived in Tampa all your life, whether you've visited Tampa many times before, whether it's the first time you've seen several things that highlight the assets that we have in our community. We're talking about our port, we're talking about our Ybor district, we talked about our neighborhoods, we talked about the different events that we have. And it's an exciting way that from your desktop, right in your own home, you can see what Tampa has to offer. We need to reach out to our folks to get them excited about it, and that's what social media helps us do as a city, to reach people beyond traditional means that we've normally had before. So we're gonna go into a PowerPoint to talk about specifically some tools that we use to get these things accomplished. We're talking about Facebook, we're talking about Twitter, YouTube, Flickr, Foursquare, Instagram, and Alert Tampa. Specifically Foursquare. Anyone familiar with Foursquare? Foursquare is a new tool that our mayor has developed in which we incorporate many of our parks, many of our different events, spaces that we offer, our rec centers, and it's a virtual tour of the city. At any time, you can tell where our mayor is in our city. What Foursquare does is it invites you to engage in the places that you love to dine, that you love to go and see and travel, and then you can connect with your contacts and get their views. When you're traveling, whether it be here in Orlando or in your own hometown, and you want to know the best place to eat or the best place to go and find somewhere to hang out, you can incorporate your friends and engage with them where they've given comments about their experience. Our mayor is in Foursquare, and he's always showcasing the different places that he's traveling, and it'll tell you, oh, Mayor Buckhorn's downtown in Ybor City, or Mayor Buckhorn's in a certain neighborhood, and you can find out where he is right at that point. Not to go and stalk him, but just to keep up with him, okay? So when you're traveling to your different cities, you can then find a place to dine, and you're getting status reports from your friends and family who are letting you know, hey, this is a great place to go. And you can become the mayor of your city for that day by visiting that place a lot and giving your feedback on it. So it's a great way to engage and get comments from that. As far as Alert Tampa, and we'll be going into that a little bit more further, that's one of our emergency management systems in which we're able to send out notices for, it could be a water main break or some sort of emergency situation like in hurricane season, or it could be a street closure that's going to impact or affect a lot of traffic. We want to be able to reach out to our citizens instantly through email to let them know what's going on so they can avoid those hazards. Now, the three main components of any social media that you typically want to use, you want to make sure that it gives immediacy. I mean, it won't be any good if you can't get the information out as quickly as you need to the residents that need it. You also want to make sure that it's interactive. The object of it is to engage you, find out what you're thinking, how you're feeling, and what you think we need to improve on to help us do better with what we do as resources for the city. It also needs to target a particular audience. And so we need to look at those trends to determine if the way we're using our social media tools are effective for target audiences. As I mentioned beginning, if you prefer email more or you prefer phone calls more, we need to try to hone in on what's the best way for us to communicate with our public. But in all, whichever social media outlet that you choose to use, just do something, just post something, and just watch how it will go from there. Our weekly view using social media. This weekly view goes out to about 42,000 residents. Our city as a whole has over 364,000 residents. We send this out every week, and it's like a Where's Waldo for our city of Tampa because it's a Where's Bob Buckhorn. It lets you know every day during the week where he's at as far as engaging in the community. So it allows you to keep up with him with plenty of vibrant pictures that talk about different things that are happening in the community. And it's self-subscribing, so you as a resident or anyone that's interested can sign up with that particular news form of social media. We also have our own mobile app, and I'm going to demonstrate this in a very quick 1-minute video to show you the different components of the web app, and then we'll talk about it more closely.
City of Tampa app from Google Play or the Apple App Store. Just look for City of Tampa. Click on the icon that interests you. News brings up all news items about the city, from the sweep team schedule to Tampa Police Department's arrests and activities. Bob connects you to Mayor Bob Buckhorn, his tweets, his Facebook page, YouTube videos, and even the city's photo gallery. Looking for work? The Jobs icon takes you to all the city's job openings, and you can even apply online on your device. The Events icon shows you all the events happening in your city. Perhaps the most exciting function of this app is the service request. You can not only report a pothole, a missed solid waste pickup, or even illegal snipe signs. The app allows you to take a picture and a GPS location, ensuring a quick response from the city. The City of Tampa's new app. It's free, it's easy, and it's effective.
That is one of the biggest features of our mobile app, that you, from your phone, can instantly take a picture that geocodes your location. So you don't have to worry about, oh, what's the name of that street or that numeric address for us to find it. And we can find that pothole or go to pick up some illegal dumping or whatever's in the neighborhood. And that's really cool. That's just how the way social media has taken it. Now, the one thing I want to brag about on our social media with our government is that our mayor does his own social media. Like, he is the one that if you tweet, he will tweet you back. Or on Facebook, he's the one that's posting. Pretty much about 97% of the time, he is the one that is answering his own tweets and Facebook and Twitters and all of that. So that's pretty cool. He's a pretty dynamic social media mayor. Now we're going to go back to the PowerPoint here as far as the app for the City of Tampa. Again, access is what's important, and prompt access to that. How effective is that if you are looking for a job, you can apply right online from your mobile phone wherever you are if you want to apply for a job within the City of Tampa. Also, you can use this application if you're coming downtown and you're trying to park. And we have our metered parking spaces that now, instead of meters at each individual space, we have one payment location that all our spaces are marked with a number, and you go and you pay at this one place, usually at the end of the block. But let's say you go to a meeting and your time is running out. You don't have to leave where you are. You simply go on your mobile app and you can add more time to it using your own method of payment right at that point. So again, social media gets to take us beyond where we've been before when it comes to accessibility. Also with the mobile app, you can get in contact with different city departments. So if you have an issue or a concern that you're trying to reach out to a city department, you're able to send that information to an individual directly or a respective department to get your needs met. The City of Tampa map focuses on the residents and providing customer service needs. So who do you want to communicate with? And that's what our focus is when we look at how effective this mobile app is. It's not about what we want to do with it, but it's meeting the needs of what our citizens say that they need from us as a city government. TPD. Our Tampa Police Department also has a mobile app. For your parents, you can access directly your school resource officer. We have a list of them based by school with their direct contact information so that you're able to contact them within your schools and find out any assistance that you need. You can also use anonymous tips. You can look at crime stats. You can look at stats based on information within your specific neighborhood. So again, social media is a driving force for us to be more effective for you as a citizen. Typically, law enforcement apps have cookie cutter, straight off the shelf features, but this one was customized to meet the needs of the community. Again, we really do look at the feedback that we get from our citizens to tell us if we're meeting the goals of our citizens. Emergency management, I mentioned that briefly earlier. Again, if there's an emergency such as a natural disaster or just a street outage that we need to make our citizens aware of, you sign up with your email and we're able to send those messages out to you directly. We can also send it out specifically to an area of town, so we don't have to always send the messages out citywide. The only challenge is we can do some phone numbers, but it's a little bit more pricey when we do it based on phone numbers versus email. So we do use the email more so than the actual phone messages. We started the program in May of 2011 with about 4,000 residents, and to date, we have over 23,000 subscribers in the city of Tampa that use this emergency management system. Social media during our 2012 Republican National Convention. How many of you got to see Tampa on television regarding the RNC or were actually there? Social media was our driving force. We had a team of folks, I was one of them that was on the social media team, worked the midnight to 9 a.m. shift for 2 weeks. When you're working 8 to 5, it's kind of hard to do that. But we were able to communicate. And what I liked was I could, at one point, send something directly to the news media before they came on for 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, and I could see the tweets or the Facebook pages that I'm sending, and they're reporting it on the news. How cool was that? Now, during the 4 days of the Convention Command Center, we pushed out more than 382,000 conversations through social media, garnering more than 6 million impressive folks worldwide. Those are staggering numbers, and we were most happy about that. And we were excited about the attention because although RNC was in Tampa, this was a national convention. So Tampa was being seen nationally by lots of folks, probably for the first time, which again, we put on a good impression, and we're hoping that will generate more business or residents that want to move to our city. Using Foursquare, we mentioned that briefly. When Tampa launched Foursquare, we added all of the parks, the government offices, plus local restaurants and attractions in another effort to engage the residents and visitors alike. So our plan is that if you have a park that you're interested in within our city of Tampa, you can go to this application and it could direct you how to get to it as far as pictures. It'll pull up a website page with statistics and other information about it. So when you're looking to plan an event or you're looking for somewhere to go for entertainment, you're able to virtually from your mobile app be able to get this information at your fingertips. Tampa social media heat up map. Now, the best thing about this is with all the applications that we use, we are looking at the trends of how our citizens are actually using this information. And guess what? When we got ready to create our Envision Tampa plan, which is our strategic plan over the next 20 years, is how we're going to develop our community through looking at the uses of where people dine the most, where people visit the most, areas where there are some challenges that we need to work on as far as infrastructure needs. We were able to use that data to plan for our strategic plan, and the data came right from our users of our social media apps. That cut out a lot of legwork on our part to physically have to go out to different meetings, which we still did, but having this data, that's how critical it was, because people who lived all over our city, even into our county, we were able to see based on where they dine and entertain, how that affected the needs that we needed to do for our strategic planning. So Tampa's planners use the data from the Foursquare check-in to watch population trends in the downtown Tampa, and that data helped shape our Envision Tampa master planning process. And here's just another kind of map to show how the different colors, and you may not be able to see them very easily on the PowerPoint, but the different colors dictate the different trends of areas, heat spots, so to speak, as to where these people are migrating together. So we can concentrate on an area of town and go, okay, in this part of the neighborhood, it seems like folks are dining at XYZ, or here in this neighborhood, we need to work on different infrastructure needs, like adding sidewalks or more lighting, because we're getting a lot of people that are traveling into those areas. Using Twitter and Foursquare data, scientists at Carnegie Mellon created a livelihoods mapping system to show a new kind of boundary based solely on their use. So now, here are some things that I want you to be reminded of, and after this, we're going to take some questions, because I want to hear from you as far as where you live, what type of social medias are effective for you, and how your government is reaching out to you as far as meeting your needs as a citizen. So now you know what Tampa's done. Let's see what you should do. Here's 7 questions for you to consider when you're looking at what the best social media application may be for you and or your city. You want to look at who the target audience is. Do they utilize the social media networking sites? If so, which ones? And do they want to interact with you through a mobile app? You know, we may say that, yeah, we think this is the best mobile app, but really is it? You need to try to find out through a survey or from meetings, what is the best way that your citizen, if you're a government entity, feels that you need to reach out to them? How can you integrate social media efforts with your existing communications? It's not that you have to out with the old and in with the new. We're talking migrating things together to help you do more. So set up a plan to develop a crossover and help your prospects find the content that they're searching for, regardless of where they look. What are you hoping to get from using social media? Are you looking to communicate about events, or are you advocating for an idea? Maybe you don't want to get that deep into social media to just hear about the concerns or issues. You just want to bring awareness to your community, to showcase what resources you have to guide them around your city better. Or maybe you want to hear from your community, but understand, be careful what you ask for. Because when you're asking them to comment through social media, they will be honest. Now, are you looking to keep an existing group active and share information, or are you looking to cultivate an interested group or individuals? Is there a target audience? Is there a challenged area in your neighborhood that you specifically only want to use social media on because you can't communicate with them any other way? Or is this something that you're looking to integrate throughout your entire city? What type of messages are you planning to publish? What other information, such as photos and videos, do you hope to publish? Stay focused, though, because it's okay to wander off from time to time to personalize, but stick with the interests of your fans and what they care about. You know, I might get caught up in all the pictures and the flim and flam of all the things that I want to put into my social media, saying that I know this is what my community wants to hear. But it may not be exactly what they want to hear or know about. So some information can be too information. So you have to try to find that balance. How do you want to be perceived? Don't ignore people. Engage with your audience. Social media is all about two-way communication. Remember, once you start putting social media out there and people are responding, you got to make sure you're prepared to respond back. That might be a staffing issue. If you're one team person in your department and you're getting this flood of emails, and then it's been like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, and your folks are not hearing back from you, it's probably not an effective way for you to communicate, because they're going to start to get frustrated and wonder, why are you putting all this out there? You say you want to hear from me, I send it to you, but I'm not getting anything. So you got to make sure that you're prepared to handle exactly what you're going to get back. And how often will you post your new content, and who will maintain it? Consider your resources. Do you have enough staff to meet your needs? And your followers need the attention. How many times have you gone on a web page and there's static information on it? 6 months later, you go back out there again, same stuff. Year later, you go back out there, same stuff. Nothing's been updated, nothing's been maintained. The information is outdated. How effective truly is that at that point? And the all-important question, how will you handle negative comments? Of course, no one will be negative on anything that you send out on social media, right? They will all love everything that you send, right? Not so much. Will they be open to say exactly how they feel? Absolutely. You don't want to get into a battle of crossing of words. They may say something that may be offensive, and you need to set up parameters to be able to handle offensive comment, to remove it. But then you don't want to go back and start getting into this bantering with a citizen. So you got to think about how you're going to handle that to still respond in a respectful manner. Are you going to please everybody all the time? Probably not, and that's okay. But your objective, if you've defined that clearly, was to communicate and reach out to your community. So let me hear from the audience. I'd like to know, either from a resident standpoint or from a government entity, as to, if you're a resident, if you're receiving any type of social media from your government, how effective it is or not. And from a government, any challenges or things that you are doing that we can share with others. Let us know where you're from.
I am Wanda Ramos, and I am from Valencia Gardens subdivision on the east side of Orange County. My organization is a voluntary organization, just all volunteers from my neighborhood, and we just began about 6 months ago, and we've been lucky enough to have a good group of neighbors getting engaged, and we're working on our first newsletter that probably will be going out.
Is it going to be printed or electronic?
Electronic.
Excellent.
We have I think it's neighbors, neighbors to neighbors or something like that we have. Something very simple, trying to keep it, pretty much within our community. We can expand to other neighborhoods nearby, but we're trying to keep it just our own, because we want to just limit to our own issues and have opportunity to reach out to the neighbors that we have nearby. So right now, that's pretty much all we have. Mm-hmm. We have accomplished a lot in a very short period of time, and we wanted our neighbors to know that, yes, there are good things happening, that there are issues being resolved within the short period of time, and there are neighbors engaged. So we're trying to keep it within that positive side and letting them know that the other issues that we have on the list are going to be taken care of. But pretty much we are in the outreach process to get more people engaged so we can solve the rest of the issues. That's pretty much where we're at.
Now let me ask you this question. When you determined that the newsletter was your way that you want to reach out, did you look at demographics in your neighborhood? Did you look at age groups? Like, what was the consideration to know that the newsletter is the best thing that you need for your neighborhood?
Because right now we have been finding out that there is information that is not being reached, that it hasn't been going to these neighbors, either for X or Y reason, that it doesn't really matter which they are. But I want to make a true effort of community building.
Baby steps.
And I want to gain their confidence, and I want to gain their trust, because what we're doing is really good. And she has seen what we have done. She had come to our meetings, and we're really a good group of people that we really have the heart in what we're doing.
Excellent.
And I want the neighbors to know that we're there working, we're doing things, and that's why we've been able to keep the initial neighbors that started coming and the new ones that started coming afterwards. So they are seeing what we're doing, and the support have been really, really great. So my focus right now is just to keep what we have gained and then branch out from there, trying to gain more neighbors to come in. So I'm trying to keep a positive side of it. This is what we're working on. This is what we are focusing on. These are the issues that we're working on, but I cannot do it. I need you to be part of this.
Very good.
And that's the way that we're kind of focusing on working on and selling it to everybody. And that's, what we're doing, the work we're doing, prove the words that we have put in it. So
Okay. Well, thank
I'm
you.
using it as a motivational tool so much.
Very good. Thank you for sharing that. Anybody else?
Hi, my name is Tony Williams, and I'm from Fort Lauderdale area.
All right.
I found on the social media that I've become a immediate, or took over rather, as a homeowner association president of the area that I'm incorporated into. And I found that there was a liking in being able to share information. And I found that utilizing the social media that some of our elderlies are slowful into being useful with it, and then some of them just don't bother with it at all. So that it became a balance of being able to get that information out. And then when you have the younger crowd, they experience that this is their life. So now we had to kind of bridge that gap for the elderly versus the mainstream. So we found that had become a challenge, but we've now found avenues of working that out. But being able to share the information and get the information out as to what is needed, I found that it was kind of on the ritual side for elderly. They just didn't like change. And so you can't, go out and just impose something on them. You have to gradually. So it might be a newsletter, or it might just be a one-on-one. So I found that the social media side, but in today's time, is very useful now.
Yes.
And once you get them established on the baby steps of seeing certain aesthetics of it, they become more attuned to it. We have the mobile app in our area down here.
All right.
And so we're now utilizing either Facebook within the association aspect. And so that was a big step, because it just, this is how we have done it. So, change is always good, but when you have to do it in moderation, and I found out it just can't be thrust upon, because if you just thrust something on me, then I have a tendency to just back it up. So I think.
Thanks for sharing that. I think change, regardless of what age we are, is a little scary for all of us. Using your youth to engage with your seniors. We have different youth groups that set up times where they will have the seniors bring their mobile phones or their laptops or computers, and they'll sit with them and have that exchange of where they're teaching them. So it's a learning moment, bridging that generational gap of having the youth and the seniors working together so they can get comfortable with using those techniques. Thanks for sharing. Anybody else? Yes.
I'm Debbie Maley from Orla Vista, and from a citizen's perspective, Neighborhood Services sends out a regular email for us, and it's really good. They give us all the workshop information. They tell us what's going on in the neighborhood. They tell us what's important and what we need to know, and contacts of how to get there. And I always look forward to Levon's email every month to see what's going on. So that's a good thing our county does for us. But the other thing that I have a downside of with all these nice new mobile apps, I have a Windows phone, and hardly anybody makes one for the Windows phone. So I sit here appless.
That is a challenge. We do have some of our applications that certain phones, they don't open up on correctly, and I think we're trying to you bring up a very good point. So that's why, again, you still have to not just get rid of the old, you just need to kind of migrate what works best so that you continue. Communication is the key. Doesn't matter how you do it, dog and pony, pigeon tail, whatever works. You just need to get the word out and make it two-way, back and forth. Thanks for sharing that. Anybody else? How about Is there ever an opportunity when it's too much? Do you feel like sometimes with social media or any of our communication tools that you're getting overwhelmed? Is your inbox filling up with all, oh, here we go. Is your inbox filling up with messages? Can that be too much? You know, where do we find that balance as a government to make sure that we're informing you and keeping you engaged, but not overwhelming you to where you go, oh my God, another email, I'm just gonna delete it. And then it could be something important. Does that ever happen to anyone? Yes? Okay. You wanna tell us about that?
Of course. Yes, okay. If I get bombarded by too many emails from different departments telling me this and that and this and that and this is happening, and it's like way too much to the point that is I shut it off, or I'm going to just unsubscribe because it's too much, and then I will have trouble kind of putting it together. Is what does this really mean? You know, if it's becoming like, okay, I accept the information, I think that I may need it,
Yes.
but if it's too much too often every day, is overwhelming.
Yeah.
And it gets to a point that I'm gonna shut you down because I don't want to hear it. You know, is this really relevant to the neighborhood that I'm living in?
Yes.
If what is happening affecting in a way that is very negative, I mean, not because the information is out there, that mean that all the information needs to be going out there. Sometimes it could be targeted to certain areas that may be directly affected by the information you're sending, and sometimes it could be a general information that pretty much to create awareness. Maybe it could be subdivided in sections, like you give a little bit here, maybe you're gonna get another update maybe next week or something, you know, just to keep an interest in what's coming. But if you give too much,
Yeah.
too often, or at the same time from many places, it is overwhelming.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. This lady here has a comment.
I'm Bertina Bush, and I'm from Orange County.
Okay.
I'm a resident, not a government worker, but my husband and I have a community newspaper. I would like to comment on some of the social media. I find it very beneficial. I get messages from the mayor's office. I get also the nice newsletters of the events. I find it, for me, as the years go by, my memory isn't as good as it used to be.
We all
And
remember that.
I have a hard time remembering all the stuff that comes through on my social media. So therefore, if I don't do another step and put a post-it notes everywhere, or set it in my phone, which is another action, another outlet, something to remind me. Or some people have been helping me; they just do it for me. I tend to forget that an event is happening. So I'm wondering if there must be some way to organize all this data that's coming through. From a newspaper's perspective, I've organized, somewhat learned to do this, but for the ordinary person who runs a neighborhood association, I don't know how they do it.
Did you also have a comment?
Um,
Where are you from?
I'm Brenda from Tampa, Bob's follower. But I know a lot of our members in our group.
Mhm.
They send in complaints or ask questions. Doesn't have to be a complaint, but they never really seem to get a clear answer.
Mhm.
What do you think
Well, you know,
they should do?
that could be an interpretation thing, because a lot of times you can, and that's why I prefer sometimes just picking up the phone, going back to that, because you can send a text to me or email to me, and I may read it and I may perceive it a different way because there's no tone in it. You don't know how that person, and then I may send something back thinking that I understand what you're saying, and it's not answering your question. And then you're back at me again. That's when you have to decide at some point, just pick up the telephone and have a conversation. So we have to remember to do that as employees, because we think the fastest, quickest way to get something out is an email all the time or a text, and then we're done with it, it's off our desk. But it's not, because you still have an unanswered question. So at that point, we need to pick the phone up, huh?
Okay, then they come back and ask us.
Yes, we definitely need to pick up the phone at that point. Social media, like anything else, it's good, it has its benefits, but it has its challenges, and you have to work within the contents of what the communication is best for you and that person. So yes, that's a good point. Thank you for that. Now, also with social media, we're hoping that when we as government are sending things out to our citizens, that you are then sharing it yourself. And that's what we're counting on, because we can only obtain so much information as far as emails and contacts within different groups. Beyond that, let's say for a neighborhood association president, we allow, or we actually rely on our neighborhood associations to make sure that when we send it to them, that president or leader, they have an email database that they're flipping it out to. And that's the beauty of the database that I have. I've been with the city of Tampa for about 11 and a half years. And I probably have over 2,000 different emails that I've collected over the years of citizens, partners, et cetera. And I could see when I send it out, because they'll copy me, where someone will take it and they have a database of 100 or whatever, and they're flipping it out. And that's what you want to happen to get that information out. You had a question? Oh. Or the gentleman? Or?
Yeah. My name is Frank Urasco. I'm president of association, neighborhood association in St. Petersburg. Mm-hmm. One of the problems is that we get a lot of messages in when you're on a board or you're the board president, and you must discern which of those is important enough or near enough in time to be disseminated to everybody else, because you don't want to have everybody getting to the point of that we've heard where they feel that they begin to ignore the messages.
Yes.
So we've got to discern the importance of them and the timeliness. And one of the things that I would like to see happen is if we could get a more uniform methodology by which messages are sent to the boards or to the presidents or whatever, so that, for instance, if it's a future event and you say future event, then you know what you're talking. If you say upcoming, immediate, see. But of course, we always want to make our thing very important and very much sought after. But if we broke it down in some kind of uniform system where you could make those kind of determinations, it would be a real big help in helping to sort it out.
Sir, you want your government to be uniform? Come on. That's asking a lot. No. And then, what we also try to do as well, because you make a valid point, I appreciate you sharing that, determining what's the best or efficient information to share. But then who's to say what you think is important to share might be something somebody else want to share. So what we try to do also is when we send stuff out to people, we'll also post it on our website. So any citizen, even if it's our president that, shares or doesn't share, anybody can go on the website and then pull the information regardless. So that also helps kind of cut that down as well. Because we've had that comment go, well, my president doesn't share anything, or he makes a determination of what's good for me. How can he tell me that? It could go either way. But you make up a valid point. But us being, uniform, yeah, well, that's another workshop. Yes, ma'am.
I'd also like to comment on this too. I appreciate it when the government sends out a newsletter format with save the date or the date time. I will send that on almost like a Dropbox, send the whole thing on to my email network. That makes it a total much better for me. But I have to, again, I run a business. A lot of these people who run over neighborhood associations, they run a business. And if you get a ton of emails coming through and you are the person who's relaying those emails, it gets to be a lot. So we appreciate any consolidation that you can do and any ease of transfer.
Well, one of the things that we have recommended to our neighborhoods, and thank you for bringing that point, maybe you don't need to be the person that receives the email information. On your board, you may have a communications person, or you can have a standard email where it's not Carla.Jackson, it's president at XYZ neighborhood. And in that email, they may have 4 or 5 people who have access to that email. So I can count on 4 or 5 different people receiving that message and someone sending it out, and not just bombarding you as the person. That's another way that you can get around it so that you don't get bombarded with everything just coming to you. Does that make sense? Okay. Any other questions in the back? She's getting her workout. I have to go to the back room, back to the amen corner back there.
Hi, everybody. I'm Vicki, Orange County. I can hold it. Oh, good.
Yeah, I got it.
Responding to the emails that everybody gets. We get one from the mayor weekly, our newsletter on aging, from the sheriff's department, with all of the different areas where you can check crime that has been within a block of your house. You just put your address in,
Yes.
it will pop up. Sexual predators that have moved into the neighborhood, whatever. One of the good things also, there's the mobile app that they all have, but with our code enforcement, which is really neat. It used to be fun to walk through the neighborhood with your phone or ride and say, there's a dog running down the street, blah, 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 this is the address, or the grass is so high, somebody has a truck putting all of their garbage in it and it's backed up to the garage door. So now all you have to do is go around with your phone and it picks it up, tells them where you are.
Yep.
The good thing that Ms. Bush was saying, and they put out a very good newsletter, is so much information.
Yes.
And I know in our neighborhood, we have 416 homes in the neighborhood. And the emails are maintained by myself to protect the privacy. A lot of people don't want their emails shared, so it's just myself and the president that have the emails. So we send out all this information that we get from the library, whatever. And the ones with the most urgent dates are the ones that go out first.
Okay.
Then if there's something going on, within a 2 or 3 week period, save the date type thing, we'll send that out later.
Okay. What I try to do as a neighborhood person for my office is that I kind of use that same methodology. If it's something urgent that I need the community to know about, there's a street closure because there's a water main break, I'm going to send that out immediately. But for the most part, if they're not so immediate or there are events coming up, as the gentleman mentioned, I group them together, and at least twice a month you'll get an email from me talking about events that are going on in the community or things you may want to be aware of. And so you'll get like 4 or 5 different subject matters in the one email, so that reduces the amount of emails that I'm sending out to my community, so that I can be kind of time sensitive to that as well. And as far as sharing emails, hopefully you use the blind copy method. So that way you don't have to worry about anybody sabotaging your emails and then flipping it and using it again, okay? Well, that's all that I have. Does anybody have any questions for me? All right. Well, I hope you, go right ahead.
I wanted to know what business Ms.
I would
Carla's
like to do
going
event
into.
planning, because I do a lot of that with the city, with the mayor's office. We're always helping to plan events. So I would like to do something in event planning, like with weddings and different events, and because I have a lot of connections, and I want to use a model of using small businesses, so that I have this network of small businesses only, that when a person comes to me and has an event, I'll go to them, I get these discounts and work it off. So don't steal my model now, okay? I've already told you. Got my business plan and everything. But I thank you very much. If you don't have any, yes.
I would like to know a little bit more how you use your social media for marketing, because I had the wonderful video that we were able to see. How are you using your social media other than the video to market Tampa?
Well, that's me. The video that you first watched was our State of the City video. Every year, the mayor that's in office, like the president does the State of the Union address, the mayor does the State of the City. So that kind of recaps what his whole platform was for that past year and what he's moving for the future. As far as social media, we have a lot of events, like many other governments, that we post our information through our Facebook, through our Twitter, through Instagram. We like to show pictures. So either during an event while it's happening or after an event, we're putting pictures out to kind of get people engaged. I would encourage all of you, while you're here, that you use your social media. Tweet your friends who didn't come to this conference today and brag about how great it was, to encourage more people to come. We also encourage through marketing and social media, that our neighborhoods, when they're going out to different events and they're experiencing a good time right while they're there. How cool is that? You're tweeting someone at home going, man, this is awesome. You ought to be here. All this stuff's going on. That's the kind of excitement that we like to generate about our city. So we're using social media either before events to market an event that's upcoming. We're going to use it during an event to get the excitement to bring more people to the event, and after it for bragging rights, so we can showcase what they missed. Okay? I thank you all for coming today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your conference. Thank you.